Hey everyone, this is Coloring Chemist. My name is Connie and welcome back to my channel. I don't know if this video will appeal to anybody but me. But you know what? I don't know. I thought I would film it because a few viewers said that they like listening to me chat about things, and this is something that I've been working on this spring, and I just love the way it looks. It makes me happy to look through it. And I think I did a quick flip of my swatch books back in the fall, or maybe just one of them, maybe both, I can't remember. But I have since then taken them apart, kind of rearranged them, gotten rid of some things, and swatched some things, some supplies that I had purchased that had not been swatched, and put them back together. Springtime, I don't know, it's just a time for me. Maybe it's the spring cleaning kind of bug that gets into me. I also did a little bit of rearrangement and got some new kind of storage spots and ideas for some things. So maybe after this video, maybe I'll do a tour of my coloring space. It's not changed a whole lot since the very first one that I did, but I can definitely do another one and show you some storage ideas that I had. But yeah, the whole spring cleaning, just tidying, organizing, reminding myself of the supplies that I have, kind of goes back to what I was talking about at the end of 2023. You know, using what I have, shopping my stash, although I kind of blew that in January, February, didn't I? But we're getting back on track. So, you know what? You may like this, you may not, I don't know. Yeah, grab yourself. I'm actually going to take a sip of tea myself. I have a bit of a frog in my throat today. There we go. Not sure if I'm getting sick. It is middle of March. It snowed again. We actually had some very odd spring-like weather here in central Canada, and it was nice, but it snowed again, which, I mean, that's okay. It's March. That's pretty typical for here. But yeah, grab yourself something to sip on, maybe a snack, and let's look through my swatch books. So if you haven't seen that other video, I think I talk, and sorry about the glare, it'll go away when I open them. But in the other video, I think I talk a little bit about how I put these swatch books together. The covers are homemade. All I did was I took some scrapbooking paper that I had from, I was never really into scrapbooking, but I really liked the pattern paper. So I bought a few pads of paper. It was like more than 10 years ago. And I used them for some paper crafts with my daughter when she was younger, but there was still just some pads sitting around. So I took, it was double-sided paper, but I actually took 2 sheets, and I believe I might have even have glued them to a piece of card, because this is pretty thick. The particular paper that I was working with had also come with some sheets in the front of the pad with letter stickers. So I cut out some little, you know, banners there and put swatch book, and then laminated them once I'd got everything, you know, glued together. And I actually put a little bit of packing tape around the edge too, because I put the paper in the laminating pouch, which of course extends beyond the edge, but I didn't want that, so I trimmed it off. But then it doesn't always, it'll sometimes start to peel up. So some clear packing tape around the edge, and I just did that for front and back cover. I have a Proclick punch, which I have some videos on my channel about that. And instead of using a Proclick spine, I've been trying out these wire bound, right? The wire coil kind of spines. They're not as handy because, of course, they don't open and close and open and close. Once you put them on, they're on. But yeah, I also figured out a way. I looked at some professionally bound books that I've had, you know, coloring books or whatever that people have had spiral bound. And I figured out that you actually have to take the back cover, fold it around like that, right? So it's like you put, then you feed the spine through. And then there are crimping tools, but I just sort of do it by hand and I push them. And then, yeah, and then it seems to go together better. Although this one, I think the spine on this one, I think the largest coil spines that I had were 1 inch, and I got so many pages in this one that I probably should have had a bigger spine, but I didn't have one. So that's what I did with both of these. This is my main swatch book. This has everything swatched out on usually mixed media paper, which is what I use for mixed media paper. It is, let's get my little, the Accent Opaque Smooth Cover White 65 pound. That's what I use. There's a couple pages in here where I have markers swatched out on marker paper, which is Hammermill cardstock 60 pound. And all of those suggestions came from the lovely and wonderful Jennifer Stay over at Coloring Bliss. That's where I got those ideas for the different types of cardstock you could buy for different media. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 pages of a cheaper, thinner cardstock, or not cardstock, watercolor paper in here, but yeah. And then I have a second swatch book that has things swatched out on black. Now, not everything that's in here is here, because there's no point in swatching out alcohol markers on black paper, right? There's no point. They don't work on black. So only the things, most of, I think, my colored pencils are in here. Some of maybe the watercolor paints I have, or acrylic paints might be in here. There's also some little things here in the end that are on a premium white paper, but we'll get to those. But I just thought I would flip through and we could take a look at my swatch book. So there we go. The shine is gone from there. I have the Artex pencils, and I don't know, I just love looking at all the colors. Do you guys too? That's, sometimes I think, I mean, I do like swatching because I very much like organizing. I like putting color on paper, and with swatching I don't have to think, and I think I've said this before, I don't have to think about color combinations or color palettes or color choices. I don't have to think about shading, you know, where should the highlights go. A lot of that stresses me out because it's not something I'm familiar with, right? I'm a chemistry teacher. My brain is naturally drifts towards math, science, that sort of thing, not art. So yeah, swatching is just, it's a way for me to put color on paper and just see the pretty colors emerge without having to put a whole lot of thought into it. So I do have the Artex 126. Some very pretty colors there. This is a swatch chart from Color with Claire. So she puts them in color family order. And I think you can get these on her Kofi page. I've got the Arteza, and I did this alphabetically, right? So Artex, Arteza. Arteza Real Brush watercolor pens. These are the ones that have, they're very similar to the Clean Color from Zig, right? That kind of idea, where they have actual bristles on the end of the pen. And they've got sort of a watercolor kind of ink in them. Some very pretty colors there as well. There's a part of me that, well, maybe not so secretly, the part of me that secretly wants the Clean Color ones, but I don't need them. You know, I'm saying this to you guys as much as I'm saying it to myself, Connie. You don't need them. I've used these for a couple different coloring pages. They will kind of streak, just like any water-based media will. So I think they work much better on watercolor paper, but I don't color often on watercolor paper. So I don't need the Clean Color ones. I have these ones, although there's some awfully pretty colors in the Clean Color ones. No, Connie. So yeah, there's the Arteza Real Brush watercolor pens. I think that's 96. Yeah, 96. There's the Black Widow pencils. All 180. Again, Color with Claire. Oh, and I should say too, if you see charts like this that have the squares and then just sort of this kind of notes kind of to the side, this is from Coloring Bliss. I had purchased a digital copy of their, again, the wonderful Jennifer Stay and Steve Stay. ColoringBliss.com, I think, is their website. They also have a YouTube channel. And I purchased the blank. They sell a digital copy of their swatch pages. And there's all different numbers per page. There's different styles. And then I can just print out what I need. So that's where this kind of swatch page came from. So there's the Black Widow pencils, again, Color with Claire, sorry. I do like the Artex pencils. I like the Black Widow pencils. Polychromos is still my favorite, I think. I have not been doing a lot of pencil coloring lately. I don't know. I've just been liking, well, I have to say my favorite thing, and you guys maybe know this if you've watched my channel, to color with are the Pitt pens. And now Staedtler has sort of their version of Pitt pens, their pigment brush pens. Both of these have India ink in them, which means I can use them on double-sided pages because they don't bleed through. And I just really, really like coloring with them. Their color goes down quick. I do blending with them. I do shading. And I'm hoping to do maybe a couple videos soon on the different ways that I use the Pitt pens. So maybe I'll do one on sort of, basics, Pitt pen basics, and then maybe I'll do one on maybe more advanced techniques. Yeah. So there's the Black Widows. Keep it this way. There's my Brutfuner squares. This is a swatch chart that I got from BeckysDIY color charts on Etsy. So you can get many, many different swatch charts from her. Love her swatch charts. I just think they're very well organized. They're very pretty. So that's the 120 Brutfuner square. I think those are the only Brutfuner pencils I have. I didn't buy any of those larger sets that came out, or were those Color? Oh no, the Brutfuner had a larger set too, but the squares are okay. They're not, I don't know, they're not my favorite pencil. But then I don't, you know what, I probably shouldn't even talk about favorites or not favorites in terms of pencils, because I don't color with pencils enough to even deserve to have a favorite, probably. There's so many more other artists and colorists out there on YouTube who use pencils so much more than I do. And, their opinions would definitely be, should carry more weight than mine. But there's some interesting colors in that square 120 set. There's the Caran Luminance pencils. And these are a few Pablos that I have. So I don't, 7. So, and you can see all of the luminance swatches are in the columns there. And then there's happens to be 2 little swatches there. These are Pablos that I have that are the same color name and number. So this is 225 moss green. There's the luminance version. There's the Pablo version. Spring green, 470 luminance Pablo. And then there were 5 Pablo colors that didn't have corresponding ones in the luminance. And I just bought a few of the greens open stock to see if I like them. I don't think I'll get a whole set of Pablos. I think I have other pencils that perform similarly, not exactly the same, but similarly, that I could use. And again, pencils are not my main coloring tool. At this time, they're just not, so I don't need them. Sorry, my furnace is going to kick on and off. Hopefully that's not too distracting. So there's the luminance. Now, I sort of double swatched the luminance because I had this chart from BeckysDIY, but then I also have Color with Claire's chart, and she just organized them differently. I really, really like Claire's sense of color families, and she does a fantastic job. I struggle a lot. So there are some supplies that I have where I've tried to put them in color families and color order on my own. And it's really hard because, you'll see you've got a bunch of yellows, but then you'll start, and I can see it here, right? That she's got these yellows. There's more yellows here. And I'm sure I could be wrong. And there's kind of more yellows here. I'm sure she was probably looking at this thinking, this is lighter than this, but do they belong in the same family? It's really hard because there's so many nuances and what have you in terms of, does it have a cooler undertone or a warmer undertone? So kudos, Claire, and thank you for putting these together for us because it's so much work, so much work. And Jennifer Stay, anybody who puts these color charts together for, a living, Becky and Jennifer Stay and Claire, it's really hard. Those ones that were on the Arteza brush pens, those I put in color order. That was me. Or maybe that was just the order they came in. Gosh, I can't even remember. But yeah, there are times when I've tried to put them in order myself, different supplies. This was one of the new ones that I had to add in. So I just finished this off the other day. Because, for those of you who saw my haul video for January, February 2024, I created a combined set of Caran Museum Aquarelle and Supercolor pencils. So I had some of each open stock, mostly greens, before that. And I didn't need them, but I decided I was going to get the rest of the Museum Aquarelles. So I have a full set, 76, of the Museum Aquarelles. Some of these colors and color names and numbers also exist in the Supercolor line. White, for example. So I've got a white in the Museum Aquarelle. There's also a white in the Supercolor. I thought, well, rather than getting a full set of the Supercolor, I'm just going to get the Supercolor pencils that have color names and numbers that don't exist in the Museum Aquarelle line. Does that make sense? So I have a full set of the Museum Aquarelle, but not a full set of the Supercolor, right? I didn't get white. I didn't get lemon yellow 240 because it was in the Museum Aquarelle, right? There's lemon yellow. Now, I think Caran does a pretty good job of color matching across the lines. There might be some difference just because the Museum Aquarelle, I mean, that's their professional line. They are so pigmented. So pigmented. I mean, look at the bright... I've activated these, right? There's dry and there's wet. And even the wet, I mean, there's so much color saturation there. So, I mean, I think there's, to my eye anyway, definitely less when you activate these because these aren't their top of the line, right? So maybe the lemon yellow in Supercolor would have looked a little bit different than the lemon yellow in the Museum Aquarelle. I'm not going to worry about it that much. I'm not a professional artist. I don't need to worry about that. So, black. I didn't get ivory black or black in the Supercolor because I had them in Museum Aquarelle. Now, I didn't get the silver, gold, or bronze in the Supercolor, and they don't exist in the Museum Aquarelle, but I don't know. I couldn't see myself using them. Quite often when you get these water-soluble pencils, if you get the metallics, when you go to activate them, you kind of lose the metallic anyway, so I figured there was no point. So even though this looks like it isn't, well, and it isn't a complete set, I don't think I will complete this set because I have vermilion and scarlet and purplish red and violet. All those colors are here. So there's that. Just gonna take another sip here. This is the Caran Neocolor 2. This is the 84 set. And again, dry and wet. Becky's DIY color charts. Whenever she's made color charts for media that can be activated like that. And I love this. She gives you a column for the media dry and then one for wet. So you can see both, which I think is fantastic. Now I have also a full set of the Neocolor 1s. And a full set of Neocolor 1s is 40 colors. And rather than making a separate swatch chart for that, what I did was, so you can see there's, these two columns here, that's the Neocolor 2s. And then for some of them, there's color over here. See that? That is the matching Neocolor 1 color. So Sahara Yellow, there's the Neocolor 2, dry and wet. There's Sahara Yellow, Neocolor 1, right? And the Neocolor 1s are the oil-based crayons. They're not water-soluble. Not every color in the Neocolor 2 range has a matching color in Neocolor 1, but the ones that do, I put the color there. And there's one color in the Neocolor 1s that isn't in the Neocolor 2s. At least not the 84 set that they sell now. It may have been a Neocolor 2 color. Once upon a time they had a set of, oh my goodness, was it 120, 124, 126? Neocolor 2s. Oh my goodness, I would love to have my hands on that set. But they haven't made it for years and years. So maybe 640 Dark Ultramarine was a color in that larger set of Neocolor 2s, but it isn't here. So that's why it's just kind of sitting over there by itself. So that's Neocolor 1. There are also some Neocolor 1 metallics that come in a little teeny tin by themselves. And so I just put those down at the bottom. You'll notice on some of my swatch sheets, I don't know if you can see that. I'm trying to see what I'm doing here. On some of the, I still can't see what I'm doing. On some of the, where the names are, can you see there's like little marks? Like little, just little, now my camera's gonna have to adjust to the lighting again. Like little counter marks, basically. What that means is, if I have more than one of a particular crayon or pencil or marker or pen, you know, for things that are sold open stock, I will make a little note of it. So I have, you know, 2 little marks next to the yellow here. So that means that I have 2 of the Neocolor 2 yellow crayons. And I think that was because I had originally purchased a small tin. Was it 15? I think 15 is the smallest tin. And then purchased the bigger 84 set. So then those 15 colors I have more than one. And I think I have purchased a few open stock. Ochre, I purchased a couple open stock because I do like using that color. I think that might be the only color though. And then of course there's the Caran Supercolor pencils. Again, Becky's DIY. And she was so kind. I actually didn't see this on her Etsy store. She had the Pablos, but not the Supercolors. So I just sent her a message on Etsy. She was so kind. She said, oh my goodness, I can't believe I forgot that one. So she put it together and it was up for sale within a couple days. And she sent me a lovely little thank you and a discount code for pointing it out to her. So that was great. So that's all my Caran things. And so if I have multiple lines within a brand, so then I'll go alphabetical by the lines. So then Neocolor, right? Luminance was before that. And then Supercolor S. That's how I organize that. There's the Castle Art Gold pencils. Not a super fan of those. They have some really cool, neat colors. And the literature that comes with them is fantastic. But, yeah, again, just a pencil that they're in my collection. I don't think I'll get rid of them. But I don't know that I reach for them very often. But, I mean, part of this, again, it's to remind me of what I have. And maybe I do need to pull them out. I have the Castle Art Pastel Tint 48 set. But I don't have the metallics. And this chart was by Becky's DIY again. Just happened to have both on the same page. So I just printed it out and put the pastel in there. This feels like spring to me. So you know what? This is good because I just thought that to myself. I thought I do need to pull these out and maybe do some coloring with them. They feel like spring. This is, I don't know if you can see, if I turn the page. These are the Color It gel pens. So Color It sold 2 cases of gel pens. They were 48 and 48, so it's 96 total. And the first 48 are right there. And it was sort of a mixed case. It had some glitter, some metallic, a couple just sort of, you know, regular gel pens. And then they had a 48 set that was all glitter. So this is just in numerical order, I think. That's why there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to the color order. I just put them in numerical order, which is how they are in the case. So, you know what? I still reach for these. You know, not so much these ones here. I don't tend to use, you know, regular kind of gel pens for much, but the glitter, the metallics, and they sold refills. I don't know if they still are, but They used to, anyway. This is what I have of Copics. I don't have them all because they actually aren't my favorite alcohol marker. I do like the Windsor and Newton Pro Markers and Pro Marker Brush. But, yeah, I do have kind of a, I don't know, sprinkling here and there. Different color families. Again, you can see the little marks. The R means that I have a refill for that color. I don't know if you can see that or not. I won't lift this up. Just kind of messes with the lighting on my camera. But yeah, so if I have a refill for that color, I put a little R there. I used to use them, and I still do. Just finding their build quality on their markers, something's happened. The older ones seem to seal, the newer ones don't, which means if they sit on your shelf for like, 6 months, you go to use it and it's dry, which is odd. So I'm not sure what's happening there. This is the Derwent Color Soft pencils. And these are the ChromaFlows I have. So again, rather than printing out a whole page, because I know I'm not going to get the rest of the ChromaFlows, it's just not a pencil that I felt I would use. Again, open stock. I got some greens, and so I just thought I'd throw them on the side there. The colors in the Color Soft line are, I don't know. They don't, now it is only a 72 set. They don't have a lot of greens. And the greens they have are not greens that I typically use. I really like the yellow greens. They have this light green and the lime green. But even the pea green, I mean, that is yellow green, but I prefer maybe a more olivey yellow green. And they have this Lincoln green, but that's almost too brown. So, yeah, I don't know. They're nice soft pencils, but it's just, I tend to color with a lot of greens. And, yeah. These are the Derwent drawing pencils, which are just a lovely, lovely pencil. I mean, they're so soft. And there's not a lot of greens here either, but just these really, really muted colors. I love muted color palettes. And, yeah, like the green shadow, the pale cedar, cray green, this smoke blue. I use that quite often for, like if I'm going to do a pencil background, like a sky background. It's just a gorgeous, I mean, I realize the sky probably isn't that color, but I really like that color. The Mars Violet. Only 24 of them, but a very pretty 24. Here we've got the Derwent Graphitint. Now, I think this was an idea that I borrowed from BeckysDIY, and I don't know if she has Graphitint, but I just used Microsoft Excel and sort of did this myself. And we've got dry and wet because it's a water-soluble or a water-activated medium, but dry and wet, dark, medium, and light. So sort of a burnishing application, and then I did burnishing application and activated it. Kind of a medium pressure application, pressure application, and then activated it. And then a super light application, dry, again wet, and activated that. Which I thought was interesting, which means you can kind of see the medium and the light. I don't know, sometimes I got a little, it was hard. It was hard to control, how much pressure I was putting down. But you can see what these colors look like, kind of more saturated, really not saturated application. The Graphitint are very pretty colors too. Notice dry when you do, and I mean they really shine when you activate them, right? The color's dry. You can see a bit of the color there, but you also see that very grayish black tone because of course that's the graphite. Particularly with the dark application. I don't know, they all tend to look very black, but so there's the Graphitints. This is inktense. This is all 100, and again, I think I took Becky's idea and did this myself because I wanted all 100 inktense on one page, and I wanted dry and wet, dark, medium, and light. So the individual, everything got very tiny, but yeah, that's what I did. And again, it's, I mean, and you guys know this if you've worked with inktense, they really, really shine when you activate them. Without activating them, they're a nice pencil, but they really, because I mean, there's ink in there, right? So when you activate, you get that lovely, lovely density of ink color. I don't know how, maybe that's the wrong word to describe it, but I also occasionally, like you saw with the luminance, I will double swatch things. So there was the Inktense, but this is also Inktense. This is, again, Color with Claire, her color family chart. Usually if I do that double swatching, it's because there's a Color with Claire chart to go with it. And I just love seeing her color families. I think she does an incredible job putting things in color families. There is the Derwent Lightfast, all 100. Again, you can see all these markings. You know, if I've bought open stock, I've got a lot of the Derwent Red, just because that's a fantastic kind of neutral red. And I got that idea from Lindsay the Frugal Crafter, where, you know, lots of reds in different sets either lean cool or lean warm, right? They lean kind of orangey or purpley, but this Derwent Red from the Lightfast Derwent Lightfast line is a really great neutral red. So I actually have those Derwent Reds scattered in cases. I have it with my Lightfast set, but I also, there's one in a case with my Polychromos Plus set, right? It's just, yeah. And then I've got a few scattered Procolors and I think a few Derwent Artist pencils. Just open stock that I purchased. Again, I don't think I'll get whole sets of those. And a few up here, Arctic Oyster and Pure. You can barely see them. They're very light colors. These were Derwent Artist pencils. Midnight Forest and Raven. It was a 6 set of like whites and blacks. And then some greens open stock there from Procolors and Artist pencils. This is photocopied onto card from the Ruby Charms swatch book, color chart book. And it's not the artist version. It's just the one printed on Amazon paper that you got off Amazon. And she had a combined color chart in sort of color order with the luminance, the Caran luminance and the Derwent Lightfast pencils. So 200 pencils, basically. And so I photocopied this onto mixed media cardstock that I have, and then did that. So I guess the luminance and Lightfast are actually triple swatched, aren't they? But I just thought that was a really neat idea. And those 200 pencils together certainly give you a incredibly high quality, really, really nice, complete set of colors, don't they? Yeah, the Ruby Charm Colors Big Book of Color Charts. That's what it's called. Here we've got Derwent again. These are the Inktense paint pans here. These 24. So I think, is that the biggest set they have? I think it is. Maybe not. These aren't the blocks. They actually come in little paint pans. I think they have Inktense blocks now for maybe all 100 colors, but I could be wrong on that. But these were the paint pans, so I got those. I don't think I'll get the blocks. I don't paint with them enough to make that, for me, worthwhile. Graphitint. This is a 12 set of Graphitint paint pans that you could get. I do like these. You can see that. There's a tiny little bit of like sparkle, but it's very faint, and it's because of the graphite that's in them. So that's a neat set to have. If anybody has any questions about any of these supplies, you know, feel free to comment in the comments below. Ask me, and I'll do my best to answer. I have a partial set of the Derwent watercolor pencils. I just sort of picked up some open stock that I thought were kind of interesting or unique colors. More to complement, I think, when I had the original 72 Inktense before they added the extra colors. 72, I think it was. There weren't a lot of lighter or paler colors in Inktense, So I grabbed some Derwent watercolor pencils to kind of fill in, you know, things like rose pink. That's really light. Pink Madder Lake. Now, with the new, excuse me, the new 28 colors, I think they have added some of those lighter colors in, but I still have these. I don't think I'll complete that set either. There's no point. These are the Distress Seasonal crayons. So Tim Holtz, Ranger. I don't have any of the crayons other than the seasonal ones. I have other gel crayons that I use, but his seasonal ones are all, I don't know if we can get that on the light or not. They are, you see that? Metallic? Not glittery so much, although there is a little bit of glitter in some of them, but more metallic. And I just find them really fun to use for backgrounds. They give that just really faint shimmer when you use them dry, particularly. They lose a little bit of the metallic when you activate them with water, but not all of it, which is surprising. A lot of things do, right? They're metallic dry, but when you activate them with water, it's gone. But his distress crayons, they keep some of that. So this is all of the distress crayons he has so far to 2024. He does seem to put out new sets every year around Halloween and Christmas. I don't know if I'll get any more. This seems like a pretty good selection. And then the tarnished brass, antique bronze, and brushed pewter. That's just a metallic set of 3 that he had. That might have even been the first ones he had that had some sort of sparkle metallic to them. So I just stuck those in the bottom. You can get these blank swatch pages for lots of Ranger's products from rangerink.com. Just go there and download them. They're free. So I put a scribble on and just activated the top half so I could see it activated and not activated. I do have a complete set of the Distress inks. I just have the minis. I don't have the big ones. This is it. And that kind of makes me feel happy in a way. He has said he is not putting out any more. This is it. This is the complete range of colors. End of story. There's no more. Now, not to say he's not going to maybe start a whole new line. I don't know. But, you know, this is certainly enough colors of ink for me. I don't know. Although, having said that, I do have a few other inks. But so there's all the Distress inks. I don't have all the Distress oxides. You saw in my January-February haul that I had purchased some. I hope to use them for backgrounds. They're tougher to blend. I thought they would be easier to blend. And they have more movement on paper. You have more time to move them around, but the layering is tougher. And I should have known that because they're opaque, right? There's an opacity there. So you're not going to get one color coming up through a second color as much, but that's okay. I will find uses for them. I do also have some Distress Oxide sprays. Again, not all of them. This is because Fantasy Connie, like Lindsay the Frugal Crafter, talks about Fantasy Lindsay wanting to do things, but Reality Lindsay, you know, may or may not. Fantasy Connie thinks she's going to do art journaling or create mixed media pictures very similar to what Lisa Taggart does on YouTube, on Inky Bliss. Will Fantasy Connie do that? Will Fantasy Connie thinks she will. Will Reality Connie do it? I hope so. But that's why I purchased the sprays to start off with. It's also why I purchased the Delusions ink sprays. Now, these are not they're not oxide, so they don't have an opacity. They're just, well, it looks like some of them do. But they're just colored. Now, I could have also invested, I guess, in the Distress ink sprays. Not the Distress oxide sprays, but I didn't. I went with some Delusion sprays. And I also have some of the Delusion shimmer sprays. So these are sprays that have mica. I don't know if you can see that. They've got a shine to them. I could paint with these sprays in coloring books, right? I could do that too. This is the start of my Faber Castell section, my swatch book. This is 40 minutes already, and I'm just, hopefully you guys just like, I don't know, a few of you said that you like to just hear me ramble, so I guess if nobody watches this, that's okay. I'm having fun looking through it. So we've got the Albrecht Dürer. The small swatches here are if I have pit pens that are the same color. So, you know, there's a Pitt Pen Ultramarine, but there's a Pitt Pen 120 Ultramarine as well. So I just did that just to remind myself, yeah, what colors I had, and what would be able to, you know, you could use them together. There's a lovely intensity for Albrecht Dürer pencils as well when they're activated. These are the Gold Faber Aqua dual markers from Faber Castell. So they're similar to a Tombow. That's kind of the best comparison I can make. So they have a brush tip like a Tombow would, and then a fine tip on the other end. They come in 60 colors. They are supposed to color match. Faber Castell is supposed to have color matching across its entire line. And within its artist line, so not the Gold Faber, but the, you know, like Albrecht Dürers and Polychromos, the color matching is really, really good. It's not ever going to be exact because when you go between media, it's just different. But the Gold Faber line is not as good, but that's their less expensive line of products, right? So you notice there's a few, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 sort of odd colors out here. I purchased a 6-pack of the Gold Faber alcohol markers. So this 60 is, they're water-based, they're like Tombow. And then since they Faber Castell came out with those, they came out with alcohol markers. Almost exact same body type, same nibs, but alcohol ink instead. And I just purchased a 6-pack of those just to see what they were like. So this is the 6 colors I got. 3 of them matched up with the Gold Faber colors. And you can see that matches okay. That one, not so much. They're both labeled 183 light yellow ochre. So you can see in the Gold Faber line, the color matching is okay. 281 sand. And then these 3 colors didn't have corresponding colors in the aqua dual markers. I will someday have to do a deep dive kind of collection on my water-based markers because I have a lot. I'm trying to think why I have so many. Because I have so many coloring books that are double-sided, and I really do like the quickness of marker. I think I was looking for, you know, what would be the best marker that's going to be the least streaky that I can use in these double-sided books. It's not going to bleed through. So, yeah, I have a lot of them. I should do a collection video. This is the Gold Faber colored pencils. There's 48 of them. And the Gold Faber watercolor pencils. There's 48 in their main set, and then they put out a 12 pastel color set. So what I did was, you've got your color name and number. This first column is the Gold Faber pencil. The second column is the Gold Faber aqua pencils dry, and then the Gold Faber aqua pencils wet, activated. You'll notice there's some gray boxes. That's because for those colors, pastel chrome yellow, pastel orange, there isn't a corresponding Gold Faber pencil. There's only the aqua. So, and then these here, I think these are corresponding colors that exist in the Gold Faber aqua dual markers. I just again put them there just to remind me that there are matching colors. This is Pitt pastel pencils, soft pastels, so the little blocks, oil pastels, and watercolor pens, all Faber Castell. Put them all on this page. I think I did a comparison video with the Faber Castell lines and you know, their what have you, and I showed these pages before. It's a way of consolidating, so I don't have so many pages in my book, but it also helps me to see, you know, for example, Scarlet Red 118 comes in Pit Pastel pencils, in soft pastels, but does not have an oil pastel in that color, does have a watercolor pan in that color. So you can see there's gray squares here. That's why there's gray squares. That particular color only comes in, like over here, we've got Walnut Brown 177. It's, you know, there for the Pit Pastel pencils and then just gray squares across. So there's no soft pastel with that color, no oil pastel, no watercolor. Yeah. Again, I made this chart myself based on kind of Becky's DIY, the idea of hers. This is another combined chart. So here I've got my 60 pit pens. So there's 60 brush tips and there's 7 bullet tips. The big brush, there are 58 and 1 bullet, but I don't have all 58. Oh, I wish I did. The dual pit pens, there are 30 of those, and the Albrecht Dürer watercolor pens, there's also 30 of those. So again, you see these gray squares. 109 dark chrome yellow, for example, exists in all 4 of those. Pit pens, big brush pens, dual pit pens, and the Albrecht Dürer watercolor. But deep red, 223, only exists in the regular pit pens. The white squares are big brush pens that exist that I do not have. You can't buy them anymore. I wish you could. They look like this. They're pit pens, but they're big. They used to be marketed to crafters, but they quit making them. So wish I had them all, but I don't. To try and fill that void, Faber Castell has come out with these dual pit pens, but they only have 30 colors, whereas you had 58 colors in the big brush. So, well. There are a few metallics that aren't in the small pit pens. They're not great. I don't know. If I were you, I wouldn't waste your money on them. There's the Polychromos, 120. Again, the marks here, if there are pit pens. Actually, you know what? On the Albrecht Dürer, I don't think those are pit pen markings. I think those are the Albrecht Dürer watercolor pen. So, yeah, that makes more sense because there's not many of them. So if I had an Albrecht Dürer watercolor marker, right, one of these guys, then if it color matched, so this is 268 green gold, so there it is. So these markings are pit pens. That makes more sense. So there's 143, occurs in a pit pen, also occurs in a Polychromos. Double swatch the Polychromos, because of course we had to put it in the color with color family order. And that's it for Faber Castell. So we're on to Jelly Roll. So these are the Jelly Roll pens I have. So I've got the metallics, the gold and silver shadow, which I do not use. Kind of sorry I bought those, but oh well. The Stardust, and then sort of the regular normal colors they have. The Moonlight colors, in both the smaller and the larger nibs. And then I've got the glaze. I've got the souffle down here. And then I included just a few. These are the Pentel dual metallic ones I have down the side here. So you can see this page, there's going to be a lot of shimmer and shine. There's the Jelly Roll pastel colors. There's a Sparkle Pop that I just threw at the bottom there. I don't have all my Sparkle Pops. Do I? I don't think I do. No, I don't have them all swatched out. I don't tend to use, the silver one is the one the only one I tend to use. And then I had some other gel pens, and I just sort of swatched them out on a card and just taped it to the back here, just so I didn't have to add another sheet. These are just some metallics that I have. The Sleechy metallics, which I really like. The Signo pens, the Signo Sparkle pens, and the Signo Broad pens. So, have them all there. I've got my Holbein colored pencils here. What very pretty colors there too. And again, Holbein in color family order from Color with Claire. This is the Color 180 set. So this is the Black Barrel Colors. So this isn't the newer Colors. This is an older set that was Black Barrel. Some fun colors. Again, not a pencil I reach for very often. Definitely, you know, a budget kind of pencil. And I did get the Color 50 metallic set. This is not Black Barrel, so this is a full colored barrel. I was watching, I think it was Colorfully Optimistic with Corey, and she was swatching out, I think the 500 set maybe, or the 300 set, I don't remember, of the Color, and she was commenting on how metallic the metallic pencils look, because often you get metallic pencils, colored pencils, and they're not, but you can see, if I just shift this in the light there, there's quite a bit of kind of sparkle and glimmer there. They also make for really nice muted colors, just even if you're not, you know, worried about using them as metallics. So there's that. These are my King Art gel sticks. I think I have them all. So there's 48 vibrant colors and 24 pastel colors. There's also some metallics in here. Again, dry and wet. If you can see the metallics there. Not really. Some very nice colors. I have a full set of the Koh-i-Noor polycolor pencils, all 144. So that's up here. These are quite hard. I do like them, but they're quite hard. Down here is a 24 set of the, is 24 or 23? The tricolor, is that what they're called? I think they're called. So it's like 3 colors of lead within one pencil, and you get kind of a mixed effect when you color with them. So I just stuck those down at the bottom there. Lyra. I do like the Lyra brand of products. So Lyra also makes an aqua brush dual marker. Again, very similar to a Tombow idea, where you've got a brush tip on one end and a fine tip on the other. And this is the colors they come in. I did a video earlier on my channel comparing the Lyra numbering system and Faber Castell, and they actually do match up. So I'll try and remember to link that below if you want to check that out. For the most part, some don't, but. So if you're looking for, because Lyra does have some products that Faber Castell does not. Now, Faber Castell does have the Tombow-like markers, right? The Gold Faber. But Lyra also has, like, Neocolor 2s. They're aquacolor, water-soluble wax pastels. That's what they're called. And Faber Castell does not. As far as I know. They have gelatos, but those are kind of different. So these are like the Lyra version of Neocolor 2s. And it's nice because, say I'm looking for, you know, I want to do a background and I want to have sort of color matching with something in the Faber Castell line. Maybe I'm coloring with Pitt pens or polychromos, whatever. And I want my background to have like their ochre colors in it. So in polychromos, that's like 183, 184, 185. Those are kind of the ochre colors. Well, here we've got 83 gold ochre, 84 ochre. And this is like a Neocolor. So it's nice to have that matching between Lyra and Faber Castell. There's 70, so it's 070, is apple green, 170 in the Faber Castell line is May Green, and it's quite similar to that color. So Lyra also has this, they call them art pens. They're probably their cheapest markers. They remind me of like just Crayola markers, and not even like the super tips, just like markers. They're fun. They're okay. They're going to be streaky. They have a very small tip. Probably better for, small details. There's a couple of metallics and some neons in there, but it's just a 50 set. Lyra makes a 72 count of aquarelle pencils, Rembrandt aquarelle, so they're, similar to like the Albrecht Dürer would be. They also have their Rembrandt polycolor pencils, and they have a 72 set of those. In feel, they feel a fair amount like polychromos. They're a harder pencil, but they do have a nice kind of silky laydown. They also have a separate set of 6 grays, so there's technically 78 colors of the polycolor total. This is a very underrated set of pencils. They're Mark Art colored pencils. I think they're also sold under the Nione brand name. And I learned about them from Lindsay the Frugal Crafter. And I really, really like how these pencils lay down. And they are cheap. You can get, on US Amazon, you can get 120 set for, I think it's just under $30. It's not very expensive. And they have a really nice color payout. They have an odd, now I'm trying to think. No, I wouldn't say odd. Well, they have a strange color naming system sometimes. Like here, this NO17, I think on the pencil, or maybe on the packaging, it's labeled as orange purple. I don't really know what color orange purple is. And then I think there was some they were trying to clarify some names, and then they called it apricot, but that doesn't really look like apricot to me either. So some of their color names are odd. I don't know that I would call that light cyan. They renamed it indigo, but I don't really know that I would call that indigo either. So the color names I kind of ignore. You can more go by but the pencils have numbers on them. I'm trying to think if the pencils have names. They may not. They have some really fun muted gray colors. Mushroom gray, dolphin gray, sky gray, smoke gray, koala gray, steel gray. There's just a hint of color to them. But I really like, these really remind me of polychromos in laydown. So these are the palette pastels I have, or I hesitate to call them pan pastels. I do have some pan pastels, but I also have 2 of those Jane Davenport palettes that just have the little circles. They look like eyeshadow, right? So I've got some blues and turquoise and greens in pan pastels. I also have their pearlescent and their kind of metallic colors. I don't know how much shine you're going to be able to pick up there. Maybe some. And then I have the Jane Davenport Birthday Suit and Chilled palettes. And I think there's 2 more palettes, but I don't know that I would get more. I also have a 72 set of the Faber Castell chalk pastels. And I just don't use chalk pastel for coloring or backgrounds very much. But that's those there. Here's Prismacolors. I don't actually remember where this chart came from. It doesn't look like a Becky's chart. It even had space down here for the discontinued colors. I don't have those. And I double swatched the Prismacolor because, of course, Color with Claire had a lovely color family chart for this. do have the complete, well, no, that's not true. I don't have the fluorescence and I don't have the black, but I have all of the colors of the alcohol marker Spectra Noir markers. Most of them I have in the tri markers, but some colors didn't exist in the tri marker sets, so I got those as individual, they call them illustrator markers, but they're all, or classique. Almost all of mine are brush tip, but a few just had the classique, the bullet nib. But that's, I downloaded this from spectranoir.com. It's kind of their color family, color chart. There's some on the side here. These were colors, and then a few over here, that they included in, it was like a holiday bonus little kit, and it had some color, and you still can't get these colors anywhere else. You can only get them in that kit, as far as I can tell. And then there was some metallic markers in there too. I always bought it one year on a whim. These also came from spectranoir.com, and I know I don't need, the markers swatched out more than once, but these were fun because these were specifically for their tri-blend markers. So this is all their colors, right? So you've got, coral 1 all the way through 11. In their tri-blend and tri-brush markers, you wouldn't necessarily have all the coral colors. Here we've got CR 1, 3, and 6, and then 7, 8, and 10. So obviously there's only 6, not all 11. But this is handy for me to have because then I can see at a glance if I want to use that coral blend marker, that's what I'm going to have. If I want to use the coral shades marker, that's what I'm going to have, right? So they have one of these for the tri-blend 3-in-1 markers. So those are the ones with the little bullet tips. And then the tri-blend brush 3-in-1 markers. So these are the ones with the brush tips. And I did get, they, not too long ago, maybe last year, came out with tricolor brush 3-in-1, but instead of being blending trios, so 3 colors within the same color family, like 3 corals or 3 reds or 3 yellow greens, these are sometimes very different colors, but colors that should still be able to blend together. And there were 18 of these markers. They came in a set. And then they named the blends, this is Breaking Waves. So we've got green turquoise 1, aqua blue 1, and blue turquoise 2 to blend together. Deep Sea has some, bluey greens. Some of them are very close. Some of them are more, this one is obviously, you've got 3 very different colors there. So some of them are easier to blend than others. But those are kind of fun. These are the Stabilo fine liner pens. There are 65 of them total. And so these are the fine liner swatches here. Stabilo also makes a .68. So their .88 are their fine liner pens. .68 are their slightly bigger bullet tipped pens. They look very similar to the fine liner pens, they just have a different tip. And you can buy a full set of those, but I haven't. But I have bought a few of them open stock, and both the fine liners and the not so fine liners are available open stock. I'm really, really liking open stock supplies that come in open stock. I like that idea. So I just purchased a few of them in some of these fine liner colors that I'm more likely to color slightly larger spaces. And in my finished pages for March, you'll see at least one, maybe more. In a coloring book that I have, it's called Insanely Intricate Landscapes, I think. And these pens work fantastically in that kind of book. I mean, tiny, tiny spaces, but some of them are not so tiny. So some of these, the larger bullet tip, they work really nicely in that book. That's all I have from Stabilo. It's just their fine liners and some of the other ones. Staedtler, I have a few things. I've got a set of 24 of the Ergosoft pencils. They do come in a set of 36. I don't have all 36. I just have 24. And then I have 12 of their watercolor Ergosoft pencils. I don't think they sell the Ergosoft pencils anymore. They're not soft as in the leads are soft. It's the outside of the pencil has this very funky, it's like plastic, but not hard plastic. It feels very cool, the outside of the pencil, and I think that was the soft part. And I think the watercolor pencils, you could get 24 of them. I only have 12. So I just sort of mixed them together here. So any swatches that go like that, that's the regular pencils. And then these ones are the watercolor pencils. They don't dissolve great in terms of watercolor pencils. So I don't know that, you should necessarily go searching them out. And you probably have to pay a fair amount for them now because, like I say, I don't think they make them anymore. But and I have a full set of the Staedtler fine liners. So I have Staedtler fine liners and Stabilo. Between the two of them, I think I like the Stabilo better. I just like their color choices better. Oh, sorry if you can hear knocking in the background. It's, believe it or not, it's my fridge. When it kicks in, the compressor kicks in for about 15 seconds, it sounds like I have fridge elves. It makes this knocking noise. Then it goes away. Yeah, I think I like the color selection better in the Stabilo. I mean, the fine liner, the Staedtler is okay too. They feel about the same in terms of laydown. I mean, a fine liner is always, it's got that little bit of a scratchy feel to it. I mean, they're not meant for large areas, right? But some of the colors you can definitely see they're the same from one line to another. But there's some colors I think that are in the Stabilo line that I think just make it for me anyway, a nicer line. I have a full set of the Staedtler Caran Aquarelle watercolor pencils, 60. So again, I did dry and wet, dark, medium, and light. I really like these pencils, and I like them dry too. I don't think you can get them anymore. I'm not sure. You used to be able to get them open stock, but you can't. That I can see anymore. Just too bad. I like them. I also have a 12 set of the Staedtler tinted graphite watercolor pencils, so similar to the Graphitint kind of idea. So I just stuck this is actually taped on. I printed this off on a piece of card and cut it out and just taped it on the bottom rather than have a whole page for that. There's only 12 of them there. These are the Staedtler pigment brush pens. So the Staedtler version of a Pitt pen. Only 36 colors. Gosh, I hope they come out with more. I just love coloring with Pitt pens, and I love these as an addition. Some of the colors are very close. Their willow green, for example, is very close to the Pitt pen May green, but not quite. So it's nice to have both, actually. Really hope they come out with more colors. Not that Staedtler would ever watch my channel or listen to me, but particularly not an hour and 8 minutes into this. This is an 80 set of Tanmit glitter gel pens. This is, I would say, I mean, Jelly Roll are nice, although their Stardust are weird. They don't have as much pigment in them as I would think. I don't know if you guys have noticed that too, but I really like coloring with these Tanmit 80 glitter gel pens. Yeah, they're just a nice set. They come in a nice case. They're all glitter, so if you can, there's a lot of glittering going on there. So they've got some normal colors, some neon colors. I don't use the neons very much, but I do have a full set of the Tombos. Like I say, I have a lot of water-based markers. I'll have to do a collection video, just so you guys can see how crazy I am. These are the other inks I have. So I have the full set of Distress inks, and then I have a few of the VersaFine Clair. Mostly because Lisa Taggart was using them on Inky Bliss. Yeah, Inky Bliss. And from what I can tell from my reading, these are the Distress inks I use for, backgrounds and blending and that sort of thing. But these, I think, are better stamping inks. They give a nicer, crisper stamped image from what I can tell. I mean, I'm not a card maker, I'm not a scrapbooker. I you know, I don't have a lot of experience with that, but I don't have all the colors. I don't know if I'll get these. These are kind of the reds and pinks. I guess there's a few greens and blues. We'll see. And then I have, so these are VersaFine Clair, and this is just VersaFine. So this is a permanent pigment ink here. These are all still water-based inks, I think. And this one is supposed to be really good for stamping. And I gotta say, it does give, I think, a pretty crisp image. So. There's my Windsor and Newton. So this is a combined Pro Marker and Pro Marker brush page. There are 204 colors, plus one, the blender. Some of these are, they'll like, is it poppy? Well, some of the grays. So like warm gray 1 through 5. I think you can get that in both the brush and the, so that would be the Pro Marker brush line, or just the Pro Marker line, which has like a small kind of bullet nib. And then they both have a chisel on the other end. Some of them only occur in the Pro Marker line. Some of them only occur in the brush line. There are the metallics down here, and you know what? I forgot to put them in. I wrote them in and then forgot to swatch them. They're not great. I wouldn't buy them. No, it's not. They're not worth it at all. But I love the laydown of these alcohol inks. There's no speckling. They're just beautiful inks. Another Tombow-like marker here. We've got the Zig Art and Graphic twin brush pen. So again, it's got a brush end and then a fine end. I've got a set of Koi Sakura brush pens. Again, very similar. Well, similar again to Tombow, but not dual-ended. They only have a brush end, no fine end. But I just bought a little set of the grays. I wanted to try them out. They come, I think you can get 48 total colors. I don't think I'll get any more of these. For heaven's sake, Connie, you don't need any more. These Zig Art and Graphic twin brush pens, there's some interesting colors. And I don't know if I don't know, they're pretty bright. There's not a lot of muted colors here. So that's an interesting set. If you like bright colors in water-based markers and you're finding that, you know, maybe some of the other sets that you've tried, maybe you've tried some Tombows or what have you, and you're finding it's just not bright enough for you, the Zig Art and Graphic are bright. They are bright, saturated colors, so that might be a set. And then at the end here, I've just got some of my paints. So this is watercolor. I have, this is the Kuretake Gansai Tambi original 36 set is up top here. And then there was a 12 set of pastels, and then a 24 set of, oh, what did they call them? Art Deco colors, I think. Is that what they called them? So I have those. I also have a 36 set of Paul Rubens watercolor tubes, and I just put them in half pans. So that's sort of starting with this Chinese white right there and then going here. I have one set of the Prima watercolors, and this is the vintage pastels. They're very gritty. I don't know. Yeah, they're very gritty. I don't know that I would buy any more. These are the Color It watercolor brush pens. So again, similar to those Artisas I was talking about at the beginning, and also to the Zig Clean Color pens. So they have actual brushes. There's 24 of those. They come in a little case. You used to be able to buy refills for them. I haven't seen them forever, you know, advertised. So I don't know if you still can or not. And then I have some of the Schminke super granulating watercolors down here. I sort of bought a number of them open stock when Jackson's Art was having a sale. So some Shire colors, forest colors, some deep sea colors, tundra, and then some haze colors there. Now, the watercolors, this is still just the mixed media cardstock. So, you know, the granulation is not going to be great here, but it just gives me an idea of, again, reminds me of what I have. This is a set of My Liang, 48 watercolors. We've got 36 regular colors and then 12, you can see. They look very much like Paul Rubens. I think the My Liang is the Pretty Excellent line of paints, which is maybe also, I think somebody did point that out to me in the comments, is Paul Rubens as well. I could be wrong, but it's a nice set. Comes in a tin. You know, you've got pretty much, I think, the colors you would need, because you can mix what you don't have. And then you've got these nice specialty ones at the end. You've got a flashing pearl that you could mix in with anything and then create, you know, say I wanted this Prussian blue to be sparkly. Mix those on the palette and away you go. So that's a nice set. This is some metallic watercolors. Oh, hang on one second. I'm just going to have to pause. Sorry about that. Felt a cough coming on. Didn't want to cough in your ear. So yes, metallics. Look at you can see the shine without me even moving anything. These are the Gansai Tambi metallics. So there's the 6 starry colors, the gem colors, the pearl colors, and then the opal colors. I'll show you on black in a bit here. You can see, oh, and the graphite colors. So there are sort of 5 sets of those Gansai Tambi kind of specialty colors. I have the Paul Rubens set of 24 metallic colors. So that's kind of these in here. Again, I mean, if I move this around, you get everything just sparkles and shines on here, doesn't it? I have a few Windsor and Newton gouache colors there. So I have gold, silver, and white. So I throw those in there. I bought a 12 set of the Art Spirits watercolors. And it was kind of one of those choose your own. You could make a little 12 tin. And so Rainbow Dust, Magic Fairy Dust, Stardust, True Silver, Fool's Gold, Rusty Gold, Rose Gold, Copper, and then some colors, Glistening Surf, excuse me, Blue Steel, Autumn Shimmer, Vintage Pink, and then she threw in this Deep Crimson Bling as a freebie. So those are lovely paints too. I have a 36 set of the Arteza Metallic Gouache paints at the bottom here. Let's see. You've got some opacity. Some shine there. These are kind of other, although there's just some paints here too. The only gelatos, I have these 36 gelatos, and I think that's all I'll have. And those are all of the like shimmery or iridescent or metallic ones. And then I tried to put them in some kind of color order. So, you know, things like Metallic Melon, and then there was like a set that was kind of space themed. So there's things like Satellite, Nebula. These are all activated, and they keep a little bit of their shine when you activate them, but I prefer using them dry. I've got a 12 set of the Sennelier. Sorry, again, cough came on faster that time. Had to pause. The Sennelier iridescent oil pastels, although not all 12 are iridescent. There's a white and a black, and 10 of them are iridescent. Other than, I do have a 36 set of the Faber Castell oil pastels, just because I bought them for sort of comparing colors across the color lines in Faber Castell, but they're not great oil. The Faber Castell are not great oil pastels. These Sennelier ones are beautiful, but I just don't know. I don't know what to do with them. To figure something out. They're very pretty. I have all of the FW pearlescent, so the Daler Rowney, they call them FW pearlescent inks. So that's starting here with Hot Cool Yellow. They're very pretty. You can see, so starting right there, you can see the shine on them there. I also have just a regular black and white. And then I have some of their shimmering colors here too. So they're very similar to the opal colors. They look very different on black. I have a 4 set of the Tusenenko Brilliance inks. So they're metallic. Galaxy Gold, Platinum Planet, Starlight Silver, and Cosmic Copper. And then the 3 rows down here at the bottom, these are little dot cards that I got from Renaissance paints on Etsy. So this is the Afternoon Tea collection, the Christmas collection 2.0, Advent Favorites, Christmas Color Shift Blizzard paints, and I just got dot cards. And they're fun. I don't know if I'll get full sets, but she gives very generous dots. So, you know, if you want to try them out, I would say the dot cards are... This Christmas Color Shift Blizzard, those are fascinating. Again, they're very similar to the opal colors in Gunsai Tambi, the Kuretake ones, but with a little bit more bling, I think. Like a little bit more shine? Glitter? Something. They're neat. Oh, and I have 4 Cosmic Shimmer polishes down here. They're like a paste. They come in a container, and they have a kind of an integrated sponge, and you can... They're meant to use dry. So they're almost like a... They're like a gel crayon, but they don't come in a crayon. They come in a little pot, and they're kind of... They're a weird texture. They're a little bit softer than a gel crayon, but still not liquidy. So... And they're meant to just kind of put on as a polish. So this graphite one is kind of dark. And then I've got Snow and Ice, Glitter Kiss Frosty Sparkle, and Pearl Luster. So some sparkly ones. Yeah. This is just a few random metallics I have here. Crayola metallic markers and glitter markers. They are so metallic-y and glittery. And they're Crayola. They're fun. Wink of Stella Gold, Silver, Clear, and White. And I recently got red, blue, green, dark green, and black Wink of Stella. So those are... You can see the glitter there, I think, hopefully. Some other glitter things, and I talked about these, and I had a whole video where I talked about my metallic and glitter kind of media. Although some of these are new, but I have some daubers and just sparkle silk, some iridescent glitter just from their craft things. The iridescent glitter media, I think, is... Oh, no, never mind. That's just different from craft companies. Some gold kind of leafing pens here, gold and silver, some copper. I do have some other art sprays there. The Spectra Noir Crystal Clear, which I love using. It's like Wink of Stella, but it's Spectra Noir. Great for using for snow because this Wink of Stella Clear almost has like just a little bit of a silvery tinge to it, whereas the Spectra Noir I find just doesn't. Then I've got some stickles. Not many, just a few. A few of those liquid pearls. Windsor and Newton Iridescent Medium. Incredible stuff. Look at, I mean, it's shining whether I move the page or not. And it's meant to mix in with watercolor to create an iridescent watercolor from any color you want. But, I mean, you could just use it to paint it on top of stuff. It's super shimmery. I have some Mod Podge Extreme Glitter. Some of this TCW, the Crafters Workshop Shimmery Goodness. It's like a paste almost in a jar. It works really nicely for snow. There's I have one little pot of stickles, because you can get stickles in the squeeze things, but you can also get them in little pots, and I just have one pot of the Moon Dust. I don't know. It has little different colored glitters in there. I don't know if you can pick that up or not, but fun. In addition to the 24 set of the Paul Rubens metallic watercolors that come in the pink tin, I also got the 48. Why? I don't know. The 24 colors are in here. Had I gotten this first, I probably wouldn't have gotten the 24, but I got the 24 first and then decided I wanted all 48. But they're very, very nice. Very nice colors. I have, I think all, maybe not quite all, of the CSY art gallery. And that it's CSY. That's what they were labeled as on Amazon. And art gallery watercolor paints. They're all metallic. I don't think they're the greatest quality paints in the world. They came in these adorable little tins in sets of 6. I think that's what suckered me in. This is just mixed media paper. I don't know if you can see that or not. I painted them on, but some of them it's like they've kind of cracked off and peeled off. So whatever binder they're using isn't binding well to this paper. So... And I've had it happen in coloring books where I've used them too. So, they're adorable little tins. Here, I'll show you one in case you haven't seen them. How cute is that? Now, I know you can get these cute tins off Etsy, and they're far better watercolors. I probably should have done that, but they were on Amazon a couple of years ago, and they sucked me in. So this is the Paradise set. I mean, they're adorable. And then I took little 1-inch stickers. These are just the Avery stickers you can get from an office supply store. Stuck them in the inside of the lid, and then just swatched them there. They're very thick. You can't, and maybe that's part of why they're sort of almost peeling off. You can't put them on thin. I don't. It's hard to explain. When they activate, they almost activate. It's not like a watercolor paint. It's almost like a thicker paste, almost. I mean, they're very pretty. They're like, you can see a lot of shimmer and shine there, and there's a lot of shimmer and shine here too. But they're just not sticking to the paper. And it's not all of them. You know, a lot of them seem to be okay. But, yeah, a few here kind of on the edge. This is the Prima watercolors, the 6 that I had, the ones that I said were so gritty. I don't know why they're down there. I think that was in a previous incarnation of my swatch book. I just happen to have them there. Metallic pencil crayons. I have a 20 set of the Derwent metallic. These are the newer ones that are not water soluble. They're fairly metallic. I mean, if you want true metallic in pencil, you're far better to find, you know, a tutorial on YouTube somewhere where they talk about how to actually color things using various shading and highlights to make it look metallic rather than use metallic pencil crayons. But these are nice. They're nice muted colors. I got the Spectra Noir ones, but I don't like them. Like you can, I don't know if you can see that in the yellow there. It's like there's black in it, and I think it's the mica, but you see that in the gold, you see it in the pink. I don't like them. Honestly, I bought these Crayola metallic pencils. They're one of the best. I mean, I think they even rival the Derwent. They're Crayola. And then I just had some comparisons down here of like gold, silver, copper, and bronze that I had in different sets. So, you know, I've got the Prismacolor gold down here, the silver, the Faber Castell gold and silver, and copper. I do have a Pablo gold, silver, and bronze. That's right. So I guess I have a few more Pablos there. These are, and this is one of the new sheets that I put in here, the acrylic brush markers that I have. So these are, you know, like the Artex, the ones that, they're acrylic markers, but you don't have to pump them. They're just a brush tip marker. And I made a combined big set because I have a few different smaller sets of Artex, some older, some newer. And I have a set of Tooly-Art. So I sort of took them all and tried to put them in color order. So this isn't one set. This is a combined set of, well, up to, I would say up to like there, right? That's a combined set of a couple different Artex and Tooly-Art, just kind of put in color order. Starting here with J001, J005, I think this is the Simp Tap markers that Artex put out. So they're similar again in that they've got a brush. You don't have to pump them, but you have to pump the other end. There's like a plunger on the other end that kind of releases, and you still have to shake them. And yeah, they were called Simp Tap. And then they continue on to the next page, to there. And then A0, A1, A3. This was the oldest set of acrylic brush pens that I bought. And I believe these were also Artex, but they were black, like a black barrel. They were long and they were dual-ended. One end had a brush and the other had like a bullet tip. They were less opaque, definitely, than the newer ones they've been coming out with. And they go up to there. Then there's a very similar kind of idea here. I think this was Ohuhu. Again, it was double-ended. It was labeled as acrylic brush marker, but it was metallic. I don't know if there's a metallic shine there or not. There might be a little bit. Yeah, a little bit maybe. But, I mean, you know what? There's a 24 set. There was a decent, you know, set of colors there. There was no names or numbers. I had to number them, so I just kind of tried to put them in order and numbered them 1 to 24. This here is a recent purchase that I bought of Artex metallic, just a set of 12. I don't see that there are any, and I think it was almost the same price as this set of Ohuhu 24s. So Tooly Art Earth Tone medium nibs. I just threw that in here. I have a fair number of the acrylic pens, marker pens that you do have to, you have to activate the tip and you have to pump them and shake them, right? I have a bunch of medium nib ones. I have some of the extra fine nib ones. I have almost that plasticky kind of nib. But I don't have those swatched out because I don't want to activate them if I'm not going to use them, right? Because once you activate them, they're more likely to dry out. Now, I had activated all 36 of these, so I thought, well, I'll just include them in here. I love that color, so kind of, those 3 rows. I love the color selection in there. Tooly Art Earth Tone, and they come in a medium nib and an extra fine nib. These last pens here, these are the few open stock Caran pigment deco brush markers that I have. I threw them in with the acrylic brush markers, but I'm still not sure what they are. They feel sort of opaque, but sort of not. But they're certainly more opaque. Some of them, well, maybe most, well, the ones I have anyway, I think they're you can definitely feel there's almost like a texture there, whereas the pigment, like the pit pens, they have an India ink. I guess these aren't pigment. They don't have, like, if I color with this, you don't feel like a texture. So these Caran ones, I don't know if I'll get any more or not, but I thought I'd throw them in here. I don't know where to put them. And I think this is the last page. We've got the Arteza soft body acrylic paints. And then I've got some Ohuhu metallic acrylic paints. These are all paints that I've got. They come in those little 2-ounce bottles, right? Just craft paint, like folk art. I do have some of the folk art down here at the bottom. I've got like copper, antique gold, pure gold, silver sterling. I've got a dragonfly glaze, rose gold, matte pure black. I also have a few of the deco art. So I've got lamp black, which is a very nice matte, flat black. A few of their Hauser green colors, and winter blue, which is a really nice color. And that's it. Now, I don't know, it's an hour and a half. You guys still with me? Doubtful. But I'm having fun. I love looking at all of these. So that's my main swatch book. I also have the black, right? Now, maybe I'll go through this one quicker. I don't have everything on black. Like I say, any kind of colored pencils I would put on black just to see what they look like. So here is the Artex 126. They're not bad in terms of, being able to see them. Here is the Black Widow on black. Again, not bad. Here's the Brute Furnish Squares on black. I would say maybe a little bit more opaque. Like you may be able to see them a little better. Some not. Like some of these darker colors, like these dark greens, you can barely see them at all. Caran Luminance on black. Look at that. It looks like you're coloring with chalk. But, I mean, you're not. But they're very, very nice on black. Those are just gorgeous on black. And you know what? The Pablos are pretty good on black, too, right? Those are the seven Pablo open stock that I have there. Castle art, not as great on black, but I mean, that's understandable. There's the pastel tint, Castle art pastel tint on black. You're not going to get as much of the color coming through, I find, with the pastel on black. You get a lot of the paleness, does that make sense? But not so much of the color. Although, you know what? Not bad. It's not like they look all white, so. These are Color It gel pens on black. Now, typically, glitter gel pens don't do much on black, right? You get some of the glitter, but very little of the color. I mean, there's some exceptions, like the fuchsia. That's pretty pink. The metallics are better on black. Some interesting, some of these are their regular colors, like the neon and autumn orange, and I mean, those are interesting on black. I don't know what happened there, but well, I put them all on black anyway. These are the Derwent Color Soft on black. I didn't put the ChromaFlow on the black. I guess I should add them in there. They're pretty good on the black. They're a softer pencil. They're going to fill in all those crevices in the tooth of the paper, right? Derwent drawing on black. They're fantastic. I mean, they're almost, they must have a lot of clay in there as a filler, because that's to me, that's what's going to cause a lot of that softness is clay that's in there. And I mean, they just go on beautifully on black. They do have a bit of that bloom that you get. I've heard people call it wax bloom. I'm not sure if it is the wax. I don't know. It could be. But if you just take your finger and do that over top, you can kind of get rid of some of it. There's the Derwent Colorfast on black. Not as great as the Luminance on black. I think the Luminance really, really look good on black, but not bad. I put the Distress Oxides on black. I just wanted to see. I didn't bother doing the inks. There's no point, right? They wouldn't show up. The oxides are okay. A lot of them just tend to look white, right? You get some color coming through with some of them. But I don't know that I would use Distress Oxides on black card. I don't. For me, anyway. I just don't think I'd get the effect that I was looking for. The sprays, a little bit more of the color coming through, but again, not a lot of, that white kind of opacity just there. The Delusion Shimmer sprays look great on black, right? But then lots of metallic things look great on black, so you can see the shimmer there. These are the Gold Faber, both the regular colored pencils and then the watercolor on black. Once you activate watercolor on black, I mean, it's not going to be great, but the others aren't bad. These are the Pitt Pastel pencils, the soft pastels, the oil pastels, and the Faber Castell watercolor on black. The neons and the metallic for the watercolor, they look good. And the pastel pencils are okay. Chalk pastels, oil pastels, they're all going to do better on black than a lot of things. Polychromos on black, not bad. The Luminance were better, and we'll see later on, a little bit later on, that the Prismacolor are better. This is the Jelly Roll, and then some of these other gel pens that I have on black. You notice, like, the glaze, it just looks like a line of blue with the white stuck in there. The glaze aren't going to do much on black. The Souffle are okay. The Moonlight are good on black. They're regular gel pens, there's no point. The Stardust, you really just kind of get glitter. Their metallics are nice on black. And then I had those other ones that I'd stuck in the back. Remember, it was like some just other gel pens. So the Sleechy Metallics, the Signo Metallics, Signo Sparkling, and then Signo Broad. All pretty good on black. Even the Signo Sparkling. That's interesting, because the Signo Sparkling Red actually still looks red. The pink looks pink. I don't know if you can see that or not. Holbeins look pretty good on black. They must have some clay in there as well. Color, not very good, but then a lot of budget pencils are not, right? They're maybe they've got less pigment in them. Their fillers and what have you are different. The Color Metallic set looks pretty good on black. We've still got some of that shimmer there, I think, a bit. Koh-i-Noor Polycolor surprised me, actually, because for as hard as they are, I don't know, I kind of assumed they wouldn't, but They're not bad. And then we've got those tricolor ones down here. The Lyra, pardon me, Rembrandt. I think it's Lyra. Lyra Rembrandt are not bad on black. They look about like the polychromos do, I think. This is the Mark Art. You know what? Not bad. That's a really I need to color with those more. Maybe I'll do some videos coloring with Mark Art pencils. This is the some of the pan pastels that I have, and then the Jane Davenport palette. But the pan pastels, of course, are gonna, well, the darker colors don't show up as much. The lighter colors do. The metallics, I can see a little bit of shine and shimmer there, but I don't know if you guys can. There's the Prismacolors on black. I mean, I think they have clay in them too. They must, to give that kind of laydown. They're nice on black. Some of the darker colors struggle, but for the most part, I think they're pretty good. There's the Staedtler Ergosoft on black. They almost look like they've changed color. Like that red doesn't look like the same red, but I even did the watercolor on here. I just wanted like the watercolor pencils just to see. There's like an opacity there. I don't know. There's the 10-minute glitter gel pens. Again, glitter gel pens, maybe there was no point. I don't know. Some of them have a metallic. They must have a metallic mixed in though, like the green beige, the pastel turquoise, the cold blue, the grayish purple. These two here, the silver gray and the silver. Like there's not just sort of a translucent ink with sparkle. There must be some metallic in there as well. And then we can kind of see some of the color from the neon glitters. And then I did some of my glitter and metallic paints. So there we've got the Kuretake Gunzai Tambi, the starry colors. The gem colors look beautiful on black. They look much better on black than they do on white. White, they look... It's like you can see the white of the paper through them, so they end up looking kind of streaky and odd, but they look gorgeous on black. The pearl, I think, look better on white. On black, the color kind of goes away, and they end up all just looking sort of white, actually. Kind of white sparkly. The graphite colors, I kind of laid them down too heavy on both the black and the white, so I'm not getting the color coming through. The opal colors are completely different. So there are the 6 opal colors on white. There's the 6 opal colors on black. I'm pointing to the same paints. So we've got opal pink, which, I mean, you can't... To me, it looks green the way the light's hitting it here. The copper, gold, I mean, you can see the colors there. But so these opal colors really... And I think that's true with any kind of opal... Those... Sometimes they'll call them shimmering colors, too. I think that's true with any of them. They look completely different on black. They really come into their own on black. And then we've got the 24 set of the Paul Rubens metallic. They look good. Here's the Art Spirits watercolor. That Deep Crimson Bling doesn't do much. And the Rainbow Dust and Magic Fairy Dust are not going to do a whole lot on black. But the others look pretty good. Here's the Arteza Metallic Gouache. Not the most opaque gouache I've ever seen, but I think they're okay. Even the gelato. Now, this surprised me. The gelatos kept some of their color, even activated on black. So that's interesting. The Sennelier oil pastels look good. The pearlescent, the FW pearlescent inks, I think look better on white. Just, to me, I don't know. There's a weirdness in the laydown. Now, the shimmering colors, there's the shimmering red, blue, and green. If you remember on white, they were like the opal colors. You could barely see them. Here you really see. So the shimmering colors, I think, work really well on black. And then we've got some of these, I should show you, actually. So we've got dot cards from Renaissance. And I don't know if you can see or not. If I hold this, if I hold it that way, can you see that? Will that focus? Can you see like how much the dots kind of are raised off the card there? She gives you a generous dot. So, I mean, I swatched these on white and black, and it doesn't even look like I touched the dots. So, I mean, you could paint with these. And so this is the Advent Favorites, which is this line here. Again, they're going to look very different on black because a lot of them are that kind of luminescent, kind of dual-toned, shimmering, shifting color thing. I think the Afternoon Tea collection actually looks better on black too. And these color shift ones, again, let's see if we can find to compare. So if you remember on white, there were the color shift, right? You could barely see them. They were very faint. Maybe if I move them a bit, you can see some of the sparkle there, but there they are in black. So how cool is that? Those, you know what? These color shift Christmas Blizzard ones, if I was going to get any in half pans, I think it would be those. And you can see the difference, like the Afternoon Tea collection, right? It looks very kind of splotchy on white, but much better on black. So it might be, if you're going to use them on white, maybe even put them over top of something else. I think if you're going to use them as just, say, a background on white, you probably are going to need more than one coat, my guess. The Advent 3 and 4, those are nice on black. And then some of those other metallic things, some of the stickles on black. The Wink of Stella do nothing on black. Here you can see, though, the Wink of Stella white and the Wink of Stella clear are different. Right? You couldn't really tell in the white paper, but the white does have some white in it. It's not just clear. There's the 48 set of Paul Rubens metallics. Again, very nice on black. Very nice on white. Here's the CSY on black. Some nice colors there too. There's the metallic pencil crayons on black. And at the very back of this book, I put, I have some stamps. Not many. Most of what I have are Lavinia stamps. And you guys may have seen I did kind of an altered page. I think Doodle Robot calls them that. It was Doodle Robot? And I had taken a snowflake mandala and created sort of a scene out of it. And I used some Lavinia stamps. And I used some stencils too. But again, Fantasy Connie, I think she's going to be doing some art journaling or mixed media pieces like Lisa Taggart does, which is why mostly I bought the Lavinia stamps, but I can use them in coloring books too. So some of I like their tree stamps. And what I did was I took, it's not card, but it's like premium paper. I think it's by HP. It was premium 28 pound. But it's got a nice finish on it. And then I just took each stamp, stamped it here with, I think that VersaFine Onyx Black, and then just wrote what it was, just so I can see at a glance what stamps I have, because I think otherwise I forget. So, again, lots of kind of tree stamps. Some smaller, some bigger. Different shapes, different sizes. And then just some foliage. So we've got Spanish moss, some leaf sprays. This was called Red Berry Wreath, so you can stamp it kind of twice and make a wreath. And then some of the smaller stamps that are, grasses and kind of little, there's a fir cone, small branch, some little small snowflakes, some little sort of flowers, leaves. Some more kind of foliage ones. There's a fairy web, like a spider web stamp. Cherry blossoms. These are a few very small ones. So if you wanted to do like a scene where you had trees, I have an idea. For these. The they had a little flower pot set. These didn't stamp very well. I don't know what I was doing. They look very blurry. They shouldn't be that blurry. But it's like these little empty pots, and then you can create, you know, little bouquets in them. I have a few of their fairies, not many. I thought this was probably enough, so some small ones. And then I love this one. It's called Caran, and she's got this lantern. And I have a few of their animals. They have so many more animal stamps. There's the mice that I included on that altered page with the snowflake mandala. Basil and Bibi. Some maca, a wolf, some birds and crows. Some little minis. They have mini stamps. Hedgehogs, so cute. Some rabbits. Then I have a few foxes. And then some kind of landscapey things. So there's like a bridge, some stones, a gate and a fence, some little lanterns, some mushrooms, little pixie houses, some bigger snowflakes, some little jack-o'-lanterns they had at Halloween time. Some other snowflakes there. This is a beautiful stamp. I know Lisa Taggart has used this in a number of them. Some little cottages and what have you. So you can make scenes out of those too. And you can see some of their stamps are solid black, right? So this is like an outline. It would be at night. You could put a little light in the window. Others are more open, you know, so you could stamp this and then color this image, right? This is some of their minis. Just stars, dots, hearts, little mini button, little mini castle, some mini berries, some leaves, little mini lamp. This is a set of science stamps that I got from Amazon, and I just like it. It's got beakers and Erlenmeyer flasks and some physics things on there and some biology things on there. There's a Claisen condenser. There's yeah, it was just fun. And I don't know if you can see what's underneath. Let me see if I move it a bit there. There's a set of 7, sorry. Phases of the Moon stamps. They're just made in China. They came from Amazon. They're like little wooden round stamps with the different phases of the moon. So I stamped them out in, I think it was one of those Tusanenko kind of shimmering inks. And then, of course, the 8th phase of the moon is new moon, which is no moon. That's why there's... These were some other wooden stamps that I had gotten from Amazon. They came in sets. Kind of a vintagey looking. I thought they were kind of neat. And they were stamps that were meant to be used, you know, like these ones had branches, and then it has all these little stamps, like leaves and flowers, so you can put different, you know, whatever you want. These ones have little sprays of blossoms or just foliage, and then some containers so you can create something inside. Same thing here. Came with little vases, and you can put different. These were some cheaper snowflake stamps that I got from Amazon. These were some other kind of leafy stamps that I got from Amazon. This was a free thing that came with something. It didn't stamp. These are supposed to be all be separate, but I literally just took the whole sheet, because these were just those cling stamps that are on a sheet of acetate. I stamped it all at once because so it didn't stamp very well. It probably should have. It would have stamped better had I taken them off and done them one at a time. I think this was a freebie too. Again, with something. This I bought. This is a set of spatter stamps from Amazon, and it was because Zucchini Kitty had used, and I did this on when I was using her color palette. She has a slightly different one, but you do an ink background and then use this to kind of just put spatter dots all over. Neat idea. And the last bit here, I printed this off and I just highlighted the different Tim Holtz stencils I have, just so I know. So that's just, I don't have all the sets. I just have some. Mostly I have these small ones. They come in sets of 3. They're probably about, what, 6 inches high? I think this probably got printed off of Ranger, if I had to guess. And this is the last. This is my washi tape. So I just took pieces of all the different kinds of washi tape I have and stuck them on a piece of cardstock, and then just put holes in it with my Proclick binding hole punch. So we're there, and that's it. That's all I have for washi tape. It's enough. And then I just decided to put some of them on black, just to see what they would look like on black. Some of them look better than others, right? These are super pretty here, but they kind of look like nothing on black. And that is it. Although that's very pretty. That's very pretty too. Sorry for the glare there. Again, just old 12 by 12 pads of scrapbooking paper, and I cut them down to size, 8.5 by 11, slightly bigger, I think, and put them back to back, laminated them, put some packing tape around the edges so they don't come apart, hole punched them, and they became the covers for my swatch books. So this was almost 2 hours of me just chatting at you. Hopefully you could just put something on, or put this on to listen to while you're working on something else. You can look up every now and again just to see some of the stuff that's in my collection. And this is virtually everything I have in my collection. There are some swatches that I don't have in here for media that I just simply don't use anymore. I have a set of, I have some of the Bic Sharpies. I don't have them swatched in here. I don't tend to use them. Maybe once in a blue moon, but I figured there's no point. So things like that. But overall, this is mostly the stuff that I have. So I really enjoyed this. I don't know if anybody else did. If you did like it, consider clicking that like button below, subscribing to my channel, leaving a comment, letting a friend know that you found a channel that you like. They might like it too. All that helps my channel to grow. I hope you got something constructive done during this 2-hour chatty session with me, but if not, that's okay too. I hope everyone is safe, I hope everyone is well, and I hope everyone is enjoying their coloring. Until next time, guys, bye-bye.